Hello friends, how are you? Fine? Okay. Now we are discussing Raymond Williams' essay published in 1958, that is, culture is ordinary. We are also ordinary people, isn't it? Yes. So you saw, first I gave you the framework of the essay so that you yourself can do something with that. Then my second lecture on Raymond Williams, you remember the other day, we were talking about 3 points. What is the first one? Is the personal element in that essay. How he is playing hide and seek in the essay. A generous sprinkling of autobiographical elements in the essay. It's a stylistic device, or you can say a rhetorical device. The way to introduce something in a very familiar way. Because culture is ordinary, so in an ordinary way. Second point we saw is the definition of culture. That is, culture is ordinary, and culture is the whole way of life. Not art and literature alone, or philosophy, or fine arts, no, but a whole way of life. In the white houses in the valley, farming. His own father is a roadman. Grandfather was a roadman, and his father was a porter. Then he became a signalman. See. So Raymond Williams himself, he went to Cambridge. See, the whole thing, that is, farming is culture, then the Mapa Mundi is culture, then the cathedral is culture, the village school is culture, the village grammar school is culture, the simple village grammar school where the classes are separated by curtains, that is culture, so everything is culture. Okay. And then third point that we saw was, culture has two aspects, two sides. Like we have seen the known and the new. You are born into the known, then you develop, you think, you ask questions, come into contact with people, you get exposure. So with this what happens? You change your mind, your culture you change. So traditional and creative. Common and the individual, finest individual meanings. No? And also, you have seen known and the new. Today we will discuss 2 more points. The fourth point in the essay, that is, what is that fourth point we should remember? Forms of culture, forms he rejects. There are 3 forms of culture, explicitly stated 2, but actually he rejects 3. Which is the first one? A. The tea shop culture. Tea shop culture. And what is this tea shop culture? He says, second personal element, when I went to Cambridge, he said. Cambridge and the buildings in Cambridge and the surroundings, the library, they were not strange to me. I was quite okay. But one thing was strange to me, and that is this tea shop culture. What is tea shop culture? So there was a tea shop, and it was exclusively meant for the membership, was not open to all. It was exclusive. Some people who pretended themselves, some people who pretended themselves as the votaries of arts, fine arts, poetry, drama, and literature, things like that, kind of upper class taste. Taste is upper class. They used to meet there. They used to discuss. As I said, they were hypocrites according to Williams, because they did not know. They had no depth. This is peripheral. They knew only something about the surface of things, not depth, not deep knowledge. But they pretended. They pretended that they were scholars, they were great writers, they were great poets, they were great men of arts and letters. Understand? They pretended like that. And Williams he did not have any such any urge to go and become a member of that tea shop. He says that they built a park wall to divide them, separate them from the ordinary people. the others were ordinary people. Like people build you can see now, a park is surrounded by a wall, so that the park is separated from the farmland. In that way, there's an imaginary park board, in the sense that they would not allow other people any membership or entry into their club. This is snobbery of the highest order, the worst type of snobbery. And this, I reject it. If that is culture, I reject it easily. So that's a good idea. Yeah. Because what is this definition of culture? Definition is culture is orderly, not an exclusive club. You can also see, even now, there are exclusive clubs, you can see, where ordinary people are not given admission. That he rejects. Okay. B. The second form of culture that he rejects is the idea of Clive Bell's. Clive Bell's idea of culture. And what is that? According to him, culture means civilization. Civilization, as you know, it is not like ordinary people, not people considered to be what we must say is higher class, upper class people. Upper class people. A folk dance is not anything to do with culture according to these people, but if it is classical dance, then it is culture. If somebody writes a simple poem, say an ordinary person writes a simple poem, that is not culture. Then what is culture? Culture is something written by the upper class people. Whether it has meaning or not, that doesn't matter. So such kind of, any exclusive type of culture, way of life, he rejects. And the third is what he calls the drinking hall culture. Drinking hall culture. What is this drinking hall culture? That he says that this is a culture of the superior prigs, the hypocrites, the do-gooders, the highbrows. These are the words that he uses, expression. The highbrows, the do-gooders, and the superior prigs. He calls them the drinking hall culture. And what is that? That is, there are some people, an exclusive group of people, what they do is they assume they are the people, the good people, doing good things to others. But actually what do they do is, they are hypocrites. See, for example, even now you can see certain clubs are there. They will announce, tomorrow at 4 o'clock we will be giving stitching materials to the widows of this village. And then the widows will come there and by 4 o'clock or so, they will be there. But they will not start the meeting at the time appointed. Why? Because they have invited a chief guest, a VIP. And the VIPs, as we know, they come a bit late. They have no sense of time. So this VIP comes late. So the meeting that has to be started at 4 o'clock, they start the poor people wait up to 5 o'clock, 5:30, and then the chief guest comes, there is a meeting, and all the members of the club come in luxurious cars, and there is what you call a very expensive lunch, a tea, high tea. A high tea will be served to the people, and then at the end, the chief guest will distribute stitching materials to the poor widows. You know what the poor widows get? A packet of needles. That's what they get. All this paraphernalia, see that all the background action, the preparation, etc. For what? For giving the poor widows a packet of needles, maybe worth 10 rupees. But actually, how much money they have spent for advertising themselves and their club? Thousands and thousands of rupees. This is what William says the do-gooders, the so-called do-gooders. They are the do-gooders, or they are hypocrites. They are just saying that we are the people who do good to other people, we are charitable, but actually they are only hypocrites. Understand? And this he compares to the modern cheap jacks. See, they are like the cheap jacks. What is cheap jack means? Cheap jacks means people who sell worthless, paltry things in glittering packets. See that? They pack the things in so beautifully that the packet attracts you and you will buy that. When you buy that and open the packet, what happens? There is nothing in it. The packet may be of 10 rupees, but the material inside will be for 2 rupees. Or it may be worthless thing, paltry, useless thing. They are cheap jacks. So, in culture, when we are thinking about culture, these people are like cheap jacks. That also he says he rejects because they are hypocrites. So 3 forms of culture he rejects. One is the T-shirt culture because it's exclusive. It is people who think that they are learned men. They are well versed in art and literature, but actually they are not because they have no depth. Second, tribal's idea, that is civilization. That is again upper class now. And drinking hall culture or the culture of the cheap jacks, that is again hypocrisy who consider that they are the do-gooders of this world. He rejects that. Okay. Now, the 5th point is, I think now it is clear you are getting, why does Raymond William rejects these 3 forms of culture? Because culture is ordinary. Culture is a whole way of life. So each point is what we must say reflects the title of this essay. Culture is ordinary. I hope you got it now. Yes. Then the 5th point is the Marxist analysis of Marxist view of culture, or the Marxist analysis of the society. So Marxists say there are many things, as Raymond Williams says, there are many things. And Raymond Williams himself was for 18 months a Marxist. He used to contribute by writing to the magazines or publications of Marxists. But he says, I don't agree with them. The Marxists said that, one, that English society is class dominated. A is class dominated. Class dominated. And so, what happens is, the poor people, the masses, the ignorant people, call the others, the ordinary people, as ignorant people, or the masses are denied opportunities to educate themselves. They don't get any exposure because it is a class dominated society, and only the high class people, the upper class people get entry into educational institutions, not the ignorant masses. That is one thing that the Marxists understand. To this, Williams answers, his answer is, no, not at all. He agrees that the English society is a bourgeois. There is an upper class people, a bourgeois culture. There was a bourgeois culture. And this bourgeois, or the upper class people, what he said, they used to control all the centers of learning and centers of power. But to call the people ignorant masses, he said, I reject that idea. Because these ignorant masses, whom Fanon has called the wretched of the earth, they have proved their strength. They have proved their ability. They have proved that they are a power to reckon with. How? In the liberation struggle in Africa, India, Indochina and Budapest. He gives example. So I reject the idea of calling, I refuse to call these poor people or the masses as ignorant. They are not ignorant, they are very powerful people. And again he continues, he says that what the Marxists say is not the whole truth. Because there is an equally powerful working class culture being developed in England. Working class people have their own institutions. Working class people have their own values. The values based on neighborhood relationship. The values based on common betterment. said the values based on like helping each other. So there is, you cannot say that it's a bourgeois society or the culture is bourgeois and only upper class people get openings. And he cites his own example. He is not an upper class person, but he reached Cambridge University. So therefore he rejects this idea of the Marxist. And then he sums up the Marxist idea in saying 3 points. One, according to the Marxist, culture is, there is a relationship between base and superstructure. Superstructure. Base is modes of production. Base means modes of production. And superstructure is culture. Modes of production and superstructure is culture. So the Marxists say that culture is determined by, the culture of a society is determined by the modes of production practiced in that society. Modes of production doesn't mean just producing anything alone, but wages, so-called surplus value, labor, capital, raw materials, marketing, supply, all these things. So the entire economic activity. So when you say about base, that is the economic activity, all the economic activities of a society. And according to Marxists, this base or the economic activities of a society determine the culture of that society. Religion, art, literature, fine arts, then the way of life, their dress, see their entertainment, their leisure activities, their cinema, drama, everything. According to the Marxists, the base controls the superstructure, and superstructure is culture. Culture means the whole way of life. Understand? William says, even though I was a Marxist for 18, I reject this idea. Why? Because there is only a one-to-one relation. The Marxist sees only one-to-one relationship here. There is base, there is superstructure. But the superstructure is so complex that you simply, one aspect of society, that is economics, or one aspect of society, that is modes of production, cannot have such an impact on the culture of human beings or a society, because it is so complex. So consciousness, social consciousness, cannot be determined by modes of production. That is what William says, and he rejects that idea. Understand? The second thing the Marxist said is that opportunities for advancement in society restricted. Because the masses don't get a chance to get any possibility of education. Education is the gate that opens your life to future and to betterment in life. And this is, already we have seen that, we have discussed that, there is some overlapping in this. Because after discussing again, he sums up these points. So, when I am also talking, I am remaining faithful to this page by page, so to say, and that is why there is some overlapping here. Already we have seen, it is not restricted. There is the working class, clear working class institutions, clear working class way of life, clear working class values. So that is rejected. Not educational opportunities are not restricted, he says. The Marxists say it is restricted. Okay. And the third and the most horrible, what you say, he speaks about that vulgarity, is that the Marxists say, if base controls the superstructure, if you change the base, you can change the superstructure also. That is, modes of production. Modes of production. If you change that, what can happen? You can also change culture. Again, you see, this is a kind of prescription. Like a doctor prescribing medicine for for the illness of a person. See that? You want to change the culture, then you change the modes of production. How is that possible? Already we have seen, because culture is the whole way of life. So this is a kind of prescription, or what is it, jumping the future. See, you can, what is called forecast. So we can say next 5 years this will be the mode of production. So next 5 years this will be the type of culture. How can you say that? It's not possible, no? Because this culture is an organic development, isn't it? There is something organic about it, and there is something complex about it. There are many variables. Most of these variables we cannot control. They are not under our control. So how can you change modes of production and change this complex system of values, of literature, fine arts, and thinking process, rituals, religion, your eating habits, your entertainment habits, your leisure activities? All these things, how can you change? It's not possible. So he said that is a vulgarity. The most vulgar thing that the Marxists have said, according to Raymond Williams, who himself was a Marxist at one time. He said, 18 months I was a Marxist. So he rejects that also. The Marxists said, can say sum up like this. According to the Marxists, mainly this is a metaphor they use, metaphor, base and superstructure. You are sure to get a question on this. What is base and superstructure? So it is a metaphor. It is mechanistic, so to say. You can say. So if you say, if base, then superstructure according to that. And the third point here, connected to this is, modes of production will change, then you can also change the culture of a people. This is, it is not at all possible. So he rejects the Marxist idea of culture. Okay? Is that clear to you? Did I make things complicated for you? No, I think. Yes. So let's sum up now. Once again, the main points we have seen: culture, first the personal element, then we saw the definition of culture, the whole way of life, and then we saw the duality of culture, known and the new, traditional and the creative, and then common and the individual. Common meanings and in finest individual meanings, isn't it? And today we discussed two more points, that is the three forms of culture that he rejects. One is the tea shop culture that he found in Cambridge. Second is Clive Bell's idea of culture as civilization. And third is the culture, the drinking hole culture. That is what he says. He uses that term, that expression of the superior pricks, highbrows, and the so-called do-gooders. They are the cheap jacks of the society. As I told you, you can see in your own place clubs like this. No? They spend 5 rupees on charity and spend thousands for advertising themselves. This is a kind of do-gooders. No? So good is to be good is a very positive quality of human beings, to do good things. But suppose you do, this is not doing good. This is mere hypocrisy. And therefore, he rejects that idea. Okay, 3 forms of culture he rejects. Then we saw today the Marxist analysis of society. Briefly put it, according to Marxist, English culture is class dominated, and therefore the ignorant masses, they don't get any chance for improvement in life. They don't get chance for education. They don't get any chance for improving their arts, understand, or their life as such. But he says it is not so, it is not true. Marxists should not say like that, because there is an equally strong working class culture and also working class institutions to cater to the needs of the working class people. He himself was a working class writer, no? Yes. And then another thing he said, what the Marxists said, the ignorant masses, nonsense. Because the masses have shown the wretched of their, that is what finance says, they have shown their power, they have shown their energy, how effective they can be by heralding and then supporting and finally liberation struggles in many third world countries, you can see. So they are not masses, they are not ignorant, don't call them masses like that. And then the 3 points the Marxists raised. One, base and stupidity, nonsense. Is restricted, education is restricted to the poor, that is also nonsense. It is changing, this is very dangerous. Because suppose the idea gets into the head of some government, if by changing the modes of production you can change the culture, what will be the effect? Isn't it? It's very dangerous, and that's why it's vulgar. It's vulgar to say that if you change the modes of production, you can also change the culture of persons. Because they work in two totally different realms, isn't it? I hope you understood. Then tomorrow again we will take up the remaining points in that essay and we will conclude it possibly tomorrow. Or we may have one more sitting. I hope you are enjoying these sessions, and if you enjoy this, you like this, let me know that Professor Thomas Mathew at gmail.com. Thank you.